Hey guys, welcome to Coding Flamingo. In the last video we looked at creating the information medium, which is the one that is going to gather all the information for the markets. In this one we're going to start creating our actual trader, so we're going to do a new project. It's going to be again a console app. Let's create it. And right now we're actually going to copy some of this information. We could actually copy it so we could actually create a new project and do shared library. And then in there we put all the stuff that we're going to use in both of them. Do the service, basically in this one it will be the Bittrex service and some of the models, and then you don't have to copy them across projects, but in this case we're just going to keep it simple. And as one of my coding mentors says, code is kind of like a novel, so like you just start writing it and then you come back and you fix it. So probably in a later video we're going to take all the repeat code and move it into its own shared class, but for now let's just do some copy pasting. So we can actually do it in File Explorer. So let me just open the folder. So in here we can just copy the models into here. And then we can copy the services into here. And then it's here, but as you can see here, it's the it's in the old. It still has like the old namespace, so we'll have to go and just copy the new namespace. And services. And we haven't installed this one, so we'll have to open node packages, browse, Unsoft, and that should take care of it. So now we're back to normal. So from here we will have to look at the Bittrex developer, and we'll have to have like the buy, sell, cancel. So if we go here and we see like buy limit, you pass it, the market you want, how much you want, the rate. But if you see there's a big difference, so if we go back to get markets, it's public. We come here, and it says authenticated. So we have to write our authentication code for this. So we go to the APIs and we can see what are the stuff that requires authentication. And you'll have to create some APIs keys. Those ones are, so if you go to account and then API keys, and then you can set the key to be, you can do trade, read, or withdraw. I don't withdraw with keys, so you want to give it enough access. So you want to give more access than you should. I want it to be able to read my wallets. I want it to be able to trade, but I don't want it to be able to withdraw. And then you just add your own key, enter your security, and so we go back here and we can see that they tell you how to do it. So you have to hash and sign it with your secret. So then we have to go back to code. And so as the documentation showed, we're going to need a key and a secret. So since it's going to be used for most of our Bittrex service, let's just put it in the constructor. So let's create a constructor that passes string key, string secret. and then we're gonna initialize the key and the secret by just so now this is available for our whole class. So now we can use the we're gonna create a new call API, but this one is gonna be signed. First, let's do the signing function. So we're gonna do this one's gonna be private because no one else is gonna call it. Actually, we should move this to private too, because no one outside this class calls these functions. So private, we're gonna call it sign request. So basically, if we go back to the documentation, it mentioned that we basically just have to grab the request that we're sending and signing it. So first we declare the encoding that we're going to be using. And sorry, I forgot the return type of this. And then we're going to get the bytes of the secret. Usually most cryptographic algorithms require you to do everything in byte arrays. So we're just going to basically convert both of our strings into a byte array. And then they ask us to do SHA-512. So that's what we're doing. So we're initializing it here. And then we're computing the hash and signing it with it. So when you initialize it, you're giving it the private key. And then we get the hash message, and then we return it back into a string, because when we send it to the side, you want to have it based on a string. So then we're going to kind of do something similar to this. We're going to call it call signed API. So we still got to do the response. The only difference is that we have to have a signature. So let's call it string signature. We're gonna go back here, sign request, and URL. So we're passing the URL that we want to sign. The URL, as before, is going to be built in the previous functions. This is just a generic that can be reused. And then we have to add it to our headers. So it's just good practice to check that we actually return something and it's not empty. So string dot empty. And then we say signature. And then we just have to add it to the headers. So this takes care of the signature. We can, so let's go and create one of the other functions, and it can be get balance, for example. And in this case, you can see we pass in the key. So anything that you have to request with a key, you have to pass it as one of the parameters. And then we pass the currency that we want. So this is checking basically our wallet balance. And then we have, as you can see in my copy paste, they ask for a nonce. So this is like a random generated number that we have to pass to each what do you call it, to each call to make sure that it's unique and it's not a replay attack. So we're just gonna copy that function. That one's a very simple function, and we just return a random number to string. So that takes care of that. Once again, since this is a new API, we gotta create a new model for it. So we're gonna go here, I'll just copy the name. We're gonna go to models and we're gonna add new item. And then we're gonna go here. And once again, you have the balance API and the result. So in here, if we go up, now we have to pass a key and a secret on the program.main whenever we create this. One way of doing it would be, I keep clicking this one, sorry. One way of doing it would be to just initialize them here and just have key, sorry, string, key equals your private key. Which it's not recommended if you're pushing this to GitHub. Just in general, it's not recommended to have credentials in code. If you're pushing it to GitHub, anybody can get your credentials if the repo is public. And it's just bad practice to have it in code. So there are two ways that you can do it. Well, there's multiple ways. Right now we're going to do a quick one that is just going to be, we're going to create an app settings file in our project. So this is kind of like how you would do it in a web app. You just create an app settings .json and you put your JSONs here. We can just put here, we change, let's just change this to key and this to secret. And then you can just keep this file without pushing it to Git. There is other ways. .NET lets you do a secrets file that is only stored in your machine, and then when you push to production, you can just have it replace that. There's another one that we're going to cover in another video that we're going to use Azure Key Vault. So that's in Azure. It's a very cheap resource, and basically it's a great way to keep your keys. You can actually back them by a hardware security module, and it's like $1 a month. And yeah, we'll get to it later. But in here you're actually gonna copy your keys and your secret that were created in the in Bittrex. So like I would copy like this key and then the secret that I'm not gonna put on screen. I don't know how good they are at rotating it, even if I delete it. So I'm just gonna do it later in the background. So now we go back to program. So now we have to get the actual string. So to do that, we have to initialize the apps.settings. And we're gonna have to to get some NuGet packages for this. So I discovered that you can do that today. It's a really cool thing, but for some reason it's not working right now. So, oh, there we go. And we have to get other two NuGet packages that Visual Studio does not catch for some reason. So we're gonna go to manage, browse, copy paste, and then we want abstractions, and then we want JSON, and that should cover it. So if we go back now, why are you not liking this? System.io, sorry. So now we can actually get the key. So we just need to config and key, I think we called it. But if I run this right now, I'm going to do the same for secret. But if we run this right now, it's going to fail. Let me start this as our startup project. So we're going to go and we'll see what happens to the key. So if we go here, the key is null. And you might be thinking, wow, this is wrong. What did I do wrong? It's exactly what Google says. But it's because if we go to here, we're saying the configuration, get it from our current directory and look for this file. You can see the file is here, it's here, but when we compile, we don't run from the root folder. So if we go here, bin debug, we don't have an app settings here. So then we have to go to here and then copy to active directory, to output directory. You can do copy always or if newer. And then we get the key. So now we have the key and we will have the secret. Let me just pause the video for a second and I'll get the secret. Okay, so now that we have the key and the secret, we can test it out. So let's do Bittrex. Let me just add it so I have the autocomplete. Using CryptoTrader services. We should do. I'm gonna get rid of this line. Sorry. Service. Equals new service. No, sorry. Key secret. Now we can do service. Oh, sorry. Service. Get balance. We can do BTC. And let's test it out. Oh, I still have an error. I missed a semicolon somewhere. Oh, up here. There we go. So my balance is 0. That is correct. But we can, I guess I should have put the stop point here so we can actually see. So let's restart it. Let's go into it. So we get the result. We can see that it's successful, and we can see they have 0 Bitcoin, 0 available, 0 pending, and this is my address. And then in here, so it was successful. So I deserialize it. So now it's a way prettier way of looking at it. But in the balance, I only really care about balance. So that's why on the result, I return balance. So this proves that our signing and our key and everything works. So now we just have to go ahead and add the rest of the APIs. So we would have to go back here, and like we would have to do buy, sell, cancel. But we know that our system works, so we just have to go copy this, do the models, and do everything. I'm gonna just copy and paste some of them. Don't worry, the code is always on GitHub, so you can go and check it out on GitHub, but I'm not gonna go retype all of it. So I'll be back in a second. So in here you can see I went ahead and copied and pasted our buy and our sell. Then we gotta check if the order is complete because it takes a little bit of time. And then the cancel order, and then the get balance. So that kind of concludes it for today, and I also added the needed transaction model and or status model and so on. And that concludes for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.